How can you stop worrying about every little thing? How can you stop your mind from going and going and going and trying to figure things out? How can you stop it from continuously imagining the worst? Well, today I want to help you to be able to understand why it is that you continuously worry. And even more, I want you to be able to help you to understand, be able to see what it is that's beneath that. What is the deeper meaning behind why it is that you worry all the time? And then I'm going to give you some guidelines on how to actually get that peace that you really want for your mind and for your body. Well, if you don't know me, let me introduce myself. My name is Tawnya Kordenbrock, and I'm the person behind arenewedlife.com. I help women to be able to rewire their brains so that they can break free from fear, anger, and low self-image to be able to love themselves, feel loved by others, and to have a deeper relationship with God. I hope right now that you will go ahead and subscribe so that you can get more of these teachings. So as we get started, let's take a look at what's really going on when you're worrying about every little thing. Well, when you are a person who worries a lot, then something is getting triggered within you that's creating an automatic response that happens, it kicks in before you even know it. Now, there's a phrase that neuroscientists use that says neurons that fire together, wire together. Now, what that means is the neurons, the nerve cells within your brain, now, when each one gets activated, it activates one that is next to it, which then activates another one that is next to it. And it creates like a chain of activation. Now, when that happens repeatedly, it's similar to creating a well-worn pathway, such as, when you're going through tall weeds and you have to clear that path and it's kind of slow going. But the more that you walk along that path or others walk along the path, then it becomes worn down and you can just go along that pathway quite smoothly, right? With no hindrances. So when you have worried so frequently and for so long, then you have that well-worn pathway created within your brain with these neurons that are firing and having this typical response. So what is this typical response? Well, it's going to be different for everyone, but there are some commonalities that come with it. For instance, when you come upon a situation in life where you're uncertain about exactly what is going to happen, how it's going to turn out, or you're just not sure what the other person is thinking about you, how they're viewing the situation, and how they are going to respond. And so that initiates fear or anxiety within you, maybe even anger. And then that anxiety is going to it's going to impact the nerves, the neurons within the emotional part of your brain. And that then is going to have that chain reaction. It's going to impact your body. Have you noticed that? How when you're feeling nervous, you're feeling anxious, that your body gets tight. You may feel it. Everybody feels it in different places. Like for me, when I get anxious, I feel it in my neck. You may start You may get kind of agitated and be kind of shaky. You might bounce your leg, or your hands might shake. Your breathing is going to change, your posture is going to change, but also with this chain reaction are going to be those thoughts that are going to come to you. So those thoughts that are concerned about what's going to happen and all of the negative outcomes that you are imagining, and so that imagination also comes into it, the pictures that come into your mind. So when you are worrying about every little thing, this is what is happening. And so to bring change, you will need to change that pattern. You're going to have to create new patterns. You're going to have to create new neural pathways within your brain. And I talk about this lots in my other videos, so be sure to check out all of the series that I have on anxiety and depression to learn more about how to change that. So we've looked at what it is that's going on when you worry, but there's actually something that's much deeper that's going on, and this is why you worry. Now, if you're a Christian, you may know that Proverbs 3 tells us to trust in the Lord with all our hearts, and do not lean on our own understanding, but in all our ways to acknowledge Him, and He will direct our paths. And then in Philippians 4, we're also told how we should not worry, but that we should, in another place it talks about casting our cares upon the Lord. So when we don't have this peace that we can have from God, and knowing that He is taking care of things, that things are going to be okay, then what is really going on is that we're not trusting. And before you get upset and move on, I don't want you to do that, because here's what I'm not saying. I'm not condemning you and saying that you're a bad Christian because you're worrying because you're not trusting God. That is not what I'm saying. Because I have been a worrier my entire life. And I am just in the past few years learning how it is that I can be transformed by renewing my mind. I'm learning what that really means. I'm learning how to change those neural pathways within me. But I have also learned what it is that I want to tell you about now. And this is that deeper part of you that doesn't totally trust the Lord. Maybe you believe in Him, but you have some unbelief. But we also trust, but also have some parts of us that don't trust. And so in order to fully be able to become a person who doesn't worry about every little thing, then not only do you have to change these neural pathways, but you have to also be able to understand this part of you that does not trust. This is the part of you that rises up when something is not going right, that gets your attention, that says, you have got to do something. You have got to get this figured out. And of course, yeah, you would want to figure out bad situations, but if you worry about every little thing, then every little thing is not really a bad situation, is it? Yet, this part of you is still responding. Okay, so here's why you shouldn't feel guilty about this. It's because you didn't create this part of you that gets so scared, that doesn't trust. This part of you developed as a child from the situations in which you grew up in. Now, they didn't have to be horribly bad. I mean, you could have had parents who greatly loved you. You know, most of us do. Our parents do love us, but they do have their own struggles, And those struggles kind of land on us, and then we have to learn how to cope with those. And so if you had any type of chaos going on in your household from various things, it could have been from uh, a parent being out of control for some reason, with anger, with gambling, with addictions, could have been, a child who was out of control, and then the parents were overly focused on this child, and there was just a general chaos within your household. Maybe some alcoholism, drug abuse, physical, sexual abuse was going on in your household. Any of those things could create anxiety within a child. So as a child, you're very limited on what to do about that. You normally would, rely on the adults around you to take care of it. But if they aren't taking care of it, then a part of you is going to rise up that's going to say, okay, then I will take care of it. I will get things figured out. And that comes across as worrying, that you try to figure out every little thing of how to have things turn out just so, have them turn out perfectly, supposedly perfectly, so that you can ease that anxiety within yourself. So how do you stop worrying? Well, first of all, you do need to be working on that pattern and changing it. And so check out some of my other videos about anxiety and depression and learn some more about that. But then also, you are going to have to do some deeper work to calm this part of you that believes it is still necessary in your adult world to get everything all figured out and to constantly be worrying about it. Because if you don't, then that is going to continue to be just overly noisy in your life. Okay, it doesn't mean that this part of you needs to be gotten rid of, because certainly you need to be alert to things not being right in the world, don't you? So you don't want that to go away. You need to be able to get to a place where you are acknowledging that this part of you exists, but also that you can have some compassion for it. You can understand why it developed within you as a way of coping with what was going on in your life as a child. Then also, you need to bring some healing to that and some comfort to that part of you. And one way that you can do it is kind of just in a meditative, prayerful way to to ask the Lord to calm that part of you, but also for yourself to kind of speak to that part that is you, and to say, I understand that you feel like we need to have control here. I understand that you believe that things are going to spiral out of control. But as an adult, I have many more resources than I had as a child. We don't have to be so afraid of everything like we were when we were a kid. But instead, I can do some things now. I am smarter. I have more knowledge. I have access to resources that I didn't have as a child. And you can also call on your faith in God, that you've seen how God has worked in your life so far and the things that He has done. So you can use all of that to bring some more calm to that part of you that developed when you were a child, that becomes on high alert whenever things aren't going well. If you found this informative and helpful for you today, I hope you will give me a thumbs up. Be sure to also subscribe so that you can get more of my teachings. And I recognize that this was a bit more of a deeper teaching than what I normally have. So if you have any questions, feel free to send those my way in the comments below. All right, have a great day. Bye.